Welcome back for chapters 3 and 4 of Junie B's First Grader at Last by Barbara Park. Stumped. Me and Herb walked to room 1 from the bus. He waved to Mr. Scary, then I waved too. I'm not even scared of that teacher. Hardly, I said just to myself. We kept on walking to our seats. May was already sitting at her desk. She was organizing her pencil box. Lenny was at his desk too. Only wait until you hear this. I didn't even recognize that guy almost. Lenny had a thrilling new haircut. That's why. It was pointish and spikish and stiffish and straightish. That hair could puncture you, I think. Whoa, I said. Cool, said Herb. Gel, said Lenny. Shh, said May. Just then, Jose came hurrying down the row, and he was rushing really fast, because the bell was about to ring. Hola, everyone, he said, out of breath. Hola, hola. Me and Herb looked at Lenny and looked curiously at him. Jose grinned. Whoops, he said. Hola means hello in Spanish. I know 2 different languages. And sometimes I forget which one I'm speaking. Wow, Jose, I said, you really speak 2 languages? Cool, said Herb. Big deal, said May. I know Spanish, too, and I can count all the way to 3 in Spanish. Does anyone want to hear me? The rest of us just looked at each other. Not really, said Herb. Not me, said Lenny. Me neither, said Jose. May didn't pay us any attention. Uno, dos, tres, she said real loud. I leaned nearer to her and said, shh. Then everyone laughed and laughed. But not May. Pretty soon the bell rang for school. Mr. Scary got our morning started. First he took attendance of the children, and then we said the Pledge of Allegiance. Plus, also, we listened to boring bulletins from the office. Finally, Mr. Scary walked to the chalkboard and he printed a list of words. Boys and girls, he said, this morning I have a fun assignment for you. He winked at us and pointed to the list. I want you to read these words to yourself, he said. Then, without talking to your neighbor, choose any word from this list and draw a picture of it in your journal. May squealed, very thrilled. Oh, goody, goody, she said. I love this kind of assignment, Mr. Scary. I am perfect at not talking to my neighbor. After that, she quickly took out her pencil box and took a pencil out, and she started to draw. I stared at the words, and then I tapped on my chin, and then I scratched my head, 'cause I didn't actually get this assignment. I said. I glanced my eyes at Herb and Lenny and Jose. All of them were drawing too. I looked back at the board again. Then I stretched my neck as far as I could, and I squinted my hardest, but those words had me stumped, I tell you. Finally, I reached out to Herb, real secret, and I tapped on his back. Psst, Herb, I whispered. Quick question. Which word are you drawing? May did a loud gasp. And she jumped up from her seat and pointed at me. Mr. Scary, Junie Jones is talking to her neighbor. See her, she's talking to Herbert, and that's against the rules. I turned my head. Blabberlips, I yelled. Blabberlips May. Mr. Scary looked back at us. His mustache was not smiling. I did a gulp, and then I quick opened my journal, and I started to draw. Chapter 4, Clucks. We drew in our journals. Mr. Scary waited until all of us were done, and then he walked around the room and he looked at everyone's pictures. He gave out shiny gold stars. First he gave stars to Camille and Chenille. What great-looking dogs you drew! Look at those floppy ears. Lucille raised her hand. Look at mine, teacher, she said. I drew a cat with pointy ears, see? My rich Nana has an expensive cat just like this. Its fur is a foot thick almost. Mr. Scary looked strange at her. Really, Lucille? A whole foot of fur? He said. My, my. Mr. Scary looked strange. He gave her a gold star and moved on. He went to the boy named Roger. Roger was in my same class last year. Excellent job, Roger, he said. You drew a man wearing a coat, and the words man and coat were both on the board, weren't they? I did a little frown, because none of these words were actually sounding familiar. After that, Mr. Scary walked to Sheldon and Shirley. Cool bat and ball, Sheldon, he said. And Shirley, you drew a bat and ball too, didn't you? I put my head on my desk. Something was very wrong here. Finally, Mr. Scary got to May. Oh, May, he said, what a special clock you drew. The big hand has 5 fingers. That's very unusual. Yes, said May, I created it myself. Plus, clock was the hardest word up there, wasn't it, Mr. Scary? Am I the only one who even knew the word clock, I bet? Just then, my stomach felt sickish inside. I quickly closed my journal and stuffed it in my desk. Mr. Scary saw me. Junie B, he said, don't you want to show me your drawing? Don't you want a gold star for today? I shook my head real fast. Nope, no, thank you. No, I don't. I said, not today. I really don't care for a gold star today, but thank you for asking. Mr. Scary just kept standing there. The end, I said. He did not budge. Please move along, I said. Finally, Mr. Scary bent down next to me. He lowered his voice so that no one could hear. I'm sorry, Junie B, but I'd really like to see what you drew, he said. I need to make sure that you understood the assignment. Then, before I knew it, he took my journal out of my desk and he gave it to me to hold. After that, he walked me into the hall. He let me show him my drawing in private, and guess what? He liked it, I think. Oh, wow, look at that, Junie B. You drew a wonderful picture of he kept looking at, a screaming chicken, I said finally. Mr. Scary did a strange face. Yes, right, he said. It's a screaming chicken. I said again, and I pointed to the chicken's mouth. See how it's screaming cluck, cluck, cluck? I used capital letters for the clucks. Capitals are for screaming, correct? Why, yes. I suppose so, said Mr. Scary. But the thing is, Junie B, the word cluck was on the board today. I know, I said. The word on the board was clock. Only I didn't read the letters right, I guess, 'cause I accidentally thought it was cluck. I tapped on my chin. What I actually wanted to draw was a butt and a ball, I said, but I really liked the sound of that one, but I didn't know how to get started exactly, so I went ahead with the cluck idea. Mr. Scary looked a little confused at me. The butt and bowl, he asked. I smiled, kind of embarrassed. Yeah, well, I read those words weren't too, I guess. They turned out to be bat and ball. Mr. Scary frowned. He said. What about the other words on the board, Junie B? Do you remember how you read some of the other ones? How about dog and cat, or coat and goat? I thought back, and then I made my voice really quiet. Dug and cot and coot and ute. I said. Mr. Scary nodded his head. Then he patted my hand very nicely. He gave me back my journal, and we walked into room 1. That's the end for today.